podcast. And this is the space where we are diving into a conversation that many of us deeply need. How shifting our mindset can not only change our health, but our entire life. Now, listeners, we live in a world that is constantly telling us who to be, how to look, and what to do to be healthy. But what if real health doesn't start with the diet plan, the supplements, or in fact the to do lists? It's more with the story that we are telling ourselves. Listeners, my guests, Stacey and Justin, they are the founders of Fortify Health Coaching, and they specialize in cutting through this noise and teaching high performing people how to regulate their hormones, handle stress, and build sustainable health. Not by chasing perfection, but progress, by rewriting the narrative in their minds. Now, this isn't about just think positive or forcing yourself into toxic positivity or productivity. This is about creating awareness, slowing down the stories that run on autopilot, and building a mind body system that finally works for you, not against you. So, if you have ever felt like you are doing all the right things, but you are still stuck, you are not alone. And today's conversation might just help you unlock what has been missing. So, with that, Justin and Stacey, welcome to the Mindful Living. And I'm absolutely honored to have both of you with us today.
Well, we're happy to be here and can't wait to dive into all the good stuff and give people some takeaways.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, this is to both of you. Let's start right at the root. You both talk a lot about the stories we tell ourselves. Um, in your coaching, how does someone's internal narrative it directly affect their health?
Let's define how we talk about mindset first. So we define mindset as the story that you tell yourself. Okay? So if we're going to talk about internal narratives, those are made with words. And as you mentioned earlier, autopilot, things that we're not even aware that we're telling ourselves just keep on repeating. And we talk about the difference of when you have something, a story that keeps repeating over and over and over, it revolves. It just goes in a circle. And put the same thing in, get the same thing out, and it's like a merry-go-round. And a lot of us hope for a different outcome
Mm.
without doing anything to change the outcome. Where it comes in is that when you have the same story, your body responds to the same story
Yeah.
in the exact same way. And you've heard it, like if you want a different outcome, you put in different ingredients. So where it impacts health, especially when we're talking about stress or something that we've carried for a long time, that can show up in a lot of ways. It could show up in your digestion. It could show up in your sleep. It could show up in random rashes. It could show up in, hey, I've worked really hard to lose weight for a long time and all of a sudden it's not working. It could be, I stay so busy, I don't know how to relax. And all of that has this background noise, which I love that you use that language of a story, that internal narrative that if I slow down, everything could fall apart. If I take a breath, I'm not afraid of the inhale, but what happens with the exhale when I let go?
Yeah.
If I eat better, who do my friends think I am? If I do whatever, it's the story we tell and what we make it mean that has a direct impact on our health. Some in small ways, some in huge ways over time.
Um, and one of the big things that we focus on
Mhm.
in our practice is starting at the daily, some of the daily keywords that people tend to ruminate on or people tend to gravitate to. that are focusing their brain in the direction that they actually don't want to go. This is called negations. Okay, this is something for the listeners to take with them. There's a category of language that we call negations, and it's essentially anything with that N apostrophe T at the end. So don't, won't, couldn't, shouldn't, wouldn't, um, stop, things of that nature. So if you were to say, "Hey, I don't want to be poor," well, your mind can't, your mind doesn't understand will and won't, right? Or don't, do and don't. It just knows what you're looking at. And so if you say, "I don't want to be poor," you're staring at being poor versus saying, "I do want to be wealthy." Right? And so when you say "I do," that's an affirmation as opposed to a negation. Okay. So you got affirmations and negations in this category, right? So instead of saying "I don't want to be poor," say "I do want to be wealthy." And just that's just an example. It could be "I don't want to be fat. I do want to be healthy." Um, it focuses your mind in the direction you want to go. And I guarantee, and just like everybody's, you know, driving instructor likely told them, look where you want to go because you're probably going to go there. Right? So we focus on getting people's words to maintain the direction they want to go.
Hmm. And is it something scientific, Justin and Stacy, that these kind of words that we utter within ourselves, or we tell ourselves, "I don't want to do this. I don't want to be like this." Is there any scientific connection here that these do affect us, or this some kind of placebo effect?
When you get into the science of it, our brains and nervous systems are phenomenally wired for survival. Okay. And patterns are what we thrive off of. It's what keeps us alive. Community, patterns, survival, it all goes hand in hand. So, scientifically, the reticular activation system is a part of the brain that is a search and verify. Okay. So, if we were going to go way back when foraging for food, you saw a bear and you're
Mm-hmm.
like, I'm out for food. I see a bear next to this shady hollow. Your brain goes, bear equals shady hollow. So the next time I'm in a shady hollow, I'm going to be prepared for a bear. And so what you would find as you were out foraging, that your nervous system would start to have that response. Your heart rate increase because you're vigilant for danger. Okay. In the same way, we make things mean things. Words mean things. So if I call someone beautiful, oh, that's delightful. Thank you. A smile came to your face just as I said it, right? Your shoulders roll back. You're like, "Thank you, Stacy. That's so nice." If I went, "That's rude," your body viscerally has a completely different effect. Whatever we've been exposed to most, we made mean something. So when you're at the science of it, the reticular activation system, let's go with the negations. I don't want to be unhealthy. All the brain can't handle no. It only knows how to start things. It doesn't know how to stop things. So when you're like, I want to stop smoking or I want to stop eating donuts on Tuesday, the brain, all it hears is donuts on Tuesday. Cool. So you know what it starts looking for? Donuts on Tuesday. And our will is going, well, wait a second. I don't want donuts on Tuesday. And the brain's like, I heard donuts. Double down, double down for that survival mechanism that was meant to protect us and is such a great tool in protecting us. When our words aren't in alignment with what we actually want, we actually end up hindering and sabotaging ourselves in moving forward. And it can be in absolutely anything. So, yes, the science is there. You start thinking about, I'm not sure what the most popular car is where you live, but if I looked for I bought a red Toyota. The next
Okay.
thing that I know, everywhere I go, everybody has a red Toyota. Now, statistically, there are no more red Toyotas on the road than there were previously before I bought mine. But my
Okay.
reticular activation says, oh, I have one. Oh, I'm looking for that now. I want more of it. And the brain is wired to follow patterns to save energy. So when we change the words, we scientifically interrupt the pattern to catch our own attention and awareness to go, oh, I want to be looking at something different. Now, the challenge is with the way the brain and patterns and neuroplasticity works. The groove that's made, the longer we've done something,
Mm-hmm.
the more challenging it is to change that pattern. So what we do is continually interrupt the pattern to create a new one until over time our reticular activation system goes, "Oh, I like that new one better." Now the challenge even becomes greater is that in stress or something that we've lived long enough,
Mm-hmm.
we will by default, that old pattern, that old story, those old words will show up and we have a choice of like, do I want to go this way or do I want to go that way?
Wow. That is that is such a huge realization. And it's really, really at such a deeper level. Now, Justin, do you have anything to add on to this?
Yeah. So what I'll pull back on is a lot of people, like Stacey said, with their reticular activation system, it's like a pair of binoculars for your brain. Okay. So the words that you use are what it's going to zoom in on. Okay. That's the only thing it knows is the words that you use and the things that you pay the most attention to, right? It doesn't understand your intent. It just knows what are you looking at the most often. That must be what they want because they're looking at that the most often, right? Or they want to be more aware of that thing. It's the red Toyota effect, like Stacey was talking about. Most people focus on why do I keep talking myself out of it? They use a lot of whys. Why do I keep talking myself out of prepping my food? Or why do I keep talking myself out of going for a walk or any basic health behavior? We focus on the how. How do you keep talking yourself out of what you want? How can you talk yourself into what you want? Okay. We focus on the mechanics of storytelling. That's a lot about what we do, right? And so those negation, the keywords that I gave you before, like don't, won't, shouldn't, couldn't, wouldn't, right? Basically saying the opposite of what you want. That's a part of the mechanics of storytelling. When you focus on that stuff, you're going to get more of that stuff, right? There's another piece of those mechanics that we call soft talk. Okay. And these are any word that softens up the intention that you have, right? So basically, it gives you a way out essentially, and it makes it less clear. And your brain loves clarity; it wants to go towards something. Like Stacey said, it wants to. It knows yes. It doesn't know no, right? It knows to go towards, like in pursuit of something, right? And so that soft talk gives you a way out, and
Mm-hmm.
it makes your intent very fuzzy, right? And so, for example, these words would be probably, perhaps, feels like, guess, maybe, could, might, possibly, sort of, kind of, potentially, hopefully, try, one day, should, and almost like, right? It's almost like I'm procrastinating. You see? And so when you make your intent hazy, or you give yourself a way out, you're way less likely to actually go and do that thing. So if we can pluck out those words where they don't make sense, I'm not saying don't ever use them. I'm saying be very aware of when you use them. Okay. So for everybody who just heard the list of words I just read out, if you want a freebie to take home, go and write those words down on one sheet of paper 5 times larger than you normally write. So if you write on one line, typically write on 4 or 5 lines. Okay. Your brain, and then read them out loud to yourself. Your brain's gonna go, Sana, why are you doing this? Why are you looking at this? And you're gonna go, it doesn't matter, just pay attention, right? Just pay attention to these words, because now all of a sudden you're gonna notice in your thoughts, people who listen to this and they go do this exercise, they're gonna notice, oh, I say I should probably go to the gym tomorrow. Well, there's two of them right there, should and probably. Okay. And so we can start to pluck those out. I can go to the gym tomorrow. Okay, if I can, then what time would I go? Well, I can go to the gym tomorrow at 1 p.m., right? So we start to become very clear about the direction we want to focus those binoculars in our brain, and the mechanics of the situation improve the likelihood that we're actually going to go and do something.
Wow. Yeah. Oh, I've never, ever heard about this. I've read about filler words, or all the with respect to grammar and English stuff. But this is something, I'm it's so relevant when it comes to our inner conversation with our inner selves, maybe the inner judge within us, or the inner person within us. This is really really something. It's such a golden takeaway. And Justin and Stacy, um, I want to ask that, in cases or scenarios when uh, any of our listener would think that I'm right now too much into mess, or I'm restless and I cannot even think about doing some self introspection about what kind of words I'm using. That's where again that negation comes into picture. So in such scenarios, how do we begin with just looking into what kind of conversation, what kind of words we are uttering within ourselves?
The way that we work with
Hmm.
all of our clients is it comes with a title and writing it out, of literally getting the words on paper. When the story is in our head, it's really the fastest. I can't do this. I'm a mess. And it's fast. It's so fast. You're like, how do I stop this tornado? And so our first goal is going to be to slow it down. And when we talk about it, it slows it down some, right? Talking
Hmm.
about it helps. And so we slow it down even more. So we'll have them get a piece of paper. We share a document with them. They title it and they write out the story. And it could be, I'm a hot mess. And so we'd be like, hey, when's a time, a specific memory that you felt like a hot mess? And they'd go, huh. Usually there's more than one time. Usually there's like, well, I can think of 17 times that this became relevant. And we'll take one story at a time. And then from there, we read it out loud. We'll have them read it out loud slower at 70% speed. And then we'll break up the sentences and have them breathe through each line. And all of a sudden, and I'll use the word magically, what felt so emotionally charged of I'm a hot mess becomes, oh, I was afraid to be seen. And it's not about being a hot mess at all. And when we slow the story down, we've got two things: space and clarity. And until you have space and clarity, which the best way to get that is to get it down on paper and to breathe into it, you're never going to be able to take what was in a revolution and evolve it into something else. And that's how we start with the awareness on a word level of how many of us are really aware of the way that we talk to ourselves all day long. It goes so fast and it's become our baseline normal
Okay.
that how would it be even possible to change until you interrupt the pattern, which is where writing it out slows it down to hold on. Now I've got my brain on board going, oh, pay attention to this over here. And what seems so simple and benign is a really powerful tool to move you closer in the direction you want to go.
Mm. Justin.
Yeah, I'm gonna double down on the tool that I just taught, the soft talk. Okay, so that's what it's called. Those are called soft talk keywords. And then we talked about the negation keywords earlier. So, like I said earlier, go write those words out on a piece of paper and then hang them up somewhere that you are commonly throughout the day. Whether that's your bathroom mirror, your kitchen, your desk, whatever it is. Do a couple sets of them if you need to. And it's I'm not even talking about actively working to change them. I'm talking about looking at them a couple times a day, just reading the list, just having the staring at it, thinking about those words, and I can just by repetition, just by them being in your space and you reading that list of words and your brain going, why am I paying attention to these words again? It doesn't matter why, right? Just look at it, right? It's the same Toyota as the red Toyota. It doesn't matter why you bought the red Toyota. You're still going to see them, right? You're still going to see them. And so you start looking at those words more often, you're going to start noticing where they don't make sense in your sentences, right? Where they are not adding to the thing that you want to do. Well, it feels like I'm tired today. Okay, well, are you or are you not? Right? I'm tired today. Okay. Well, at the very least, with a more direct or more solid statement, that's called solid talk. The opposite of soft talk is called solid talk. That solid talk you can actually do something with. Soft talk is hard to do anything with because it gives you a way out. It's very in between. And so with solid talk, you can actually go, I am tired today. Okay, I'm going to take a nap, or I'm going to get some extra sleep tonight, and I'll go to the gym tomorrow, or I'll do whatever it is tomorrow. So if you're talking about, hey, people are overwhelmed and they're like, I just can't do another thing, and these health behaviors are too big, and there's no way I can make this change. Well, if those are the words that you're using, you're exactly right.
Mm-hmm.
Soft talk is the on ramp to the rest of the work that Stacey just talked about. Okay. Soft talk is just noticing where you are intentionally shooting yourself in the foot when it comes to the things that you actually want to do, right? Because there's a lot of things we can talk about in this conversation, and at the end of the day, until we start to socialize these basic ideas in our brain to get those binoculars to stare at something a little bit different, it's going to be very hard to make a solid change.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with you. Couldn't agree more with you. Oh wow. So, uh, although we do have a time constraint, but I just want to bring in this aspect of your work as well, of your coaching. Um, so we have talked about words, we have talked about mindset, and now at least I have had so many conversations where it's really exciting to know how our mindset, how our mind is connected with our body. The signs that our body is giving. As you mentioned, Stacey, in the beginning of the conversation. Um, so especially for not only women but men who have lot on their plates, how exactly stress and mindset directly impact hormones?
Yeah. So this one's really straightforward. Um,
Mm-hmm.
when we tell ourselves a revolving crappy story that gets us worked up every time, like they always cut me off in traffic, my boss always does this, my spouse is never on time, all of those type of stories, right? We all are familiar with them. We start to get a reaction in our body, right? Our words affect four things. Our words, our stories in our heads made of words, right? It's going to affect our imagination, which is like the mental picture that we get, the creativity, right? It's going to affect our posture, so how we actually present ourselves in the physical space. It's going to affect our breathing. So we're going to have our breath chapped in our chest because they always do that to me, that type of stuff. And then number four, it's going to affect our emotions, obviously, right? And that emotional, that all of those are going to affect your physiology, your body in some way. But those emotions specifically and the breath specifically are going to send a communication to your body. Remember, hormones are chemical messengers. Okay. So
Right.
it's going to send a communication signal from the brain, and it's going to say, I don't know what it is, but they're stressed out about something. There's where something's either we got to fight or we got to run. It's that fight or flight response on a small level. Okay. So hormonally, what's going to happen is your brain's going to send a signal. It's going to spike your cortisol, which is your fight or flight hormone, right? It's your stress response team. Okay. So it's cortisol is going to go up. Okay. Digestion is going to go way down. Digestion is going to slow or come to a halt because it's like, hey, don't put energy into you know, digesting food or processing nutrients. We need to go and run, or we need to go and fight. That's the response we're getting from the body. And so when that cortisol spikes and that system sees that signal, everything goes on alert. Okay. And your rest and digest functions, like the things that actually heal your muscle tissue, improve your digestion, help to create more memories in your head or help you think clearer, right? Those functions start to go down because that cortisol that you're bumping up the cortisol, right? It's thinking fight, energy, um, focus. Like it's a very narrow focus. Your hearing goes down because you need think about when you do a sprint, right? Like when you do a wind sprint, all you're seeing is what's ahead of you. You're not seeing what's periphery to you. You're zoomed in, right? When you're on a walk, all of a sudden you can see everything, right? Because that hormonal balance is different. That cortisol is down. So when the cortisol goes up because of whatever thought you just had and the response your body made to it, right? Because of the story, it's coming from the meaning of the thing that you just told yourself internally. Then
Mhm.
you start to see those things falter over time, that digestion, that ability to focus, all those type of things. You're chronically elevating that level of cortisol, Okay. And that's not only affecting your ability to go to the bathroom on a basic level or have consistent energy levels, right? Or get consistent sleep. It's also affecting your ability to produce enough sex hormone, for example, right? Testosterone or estrogen for women, right? And so that's going to affect, for women, it's going to be menstrual cycles, right? For men, it may be sex drive. For women, it's going to be sex drive too. And it's also going to affect your insulin sensitivity, which is the way that your body balances its blood sugar, right? So all of a sudden, things that may not have been a problem food before start to become a little bit more of a problem. Okay. So it's this chronically elevated cortisol over time because of these stories hyping us up that's going to become the negative health effect. And like Stacey said, all of a sudden, what I could do before, maybe lose weight by just cutting out some bread before, let's say that that's people's common tactic. Okay. All of a sudden, that didn't work as well anymore because my threshold is lower. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, Justin. Absolutely. Very, very well explained. It's simple. These are common observations, but sometimes in all this hustle and noise, clutter, we tend to miss them, probably unintentionally or intentionally, maybe. But before we wrap up this conversation, Justin and Stacey, if our listeners they would like to connect with both of you and explore more about the wonderful, insightful wisdom that you are sharing on this beautiful connection between mindset and body, what will be the best way?
Yeah. So best platform for us is going to be Instagram. Okay. So my name on there is Farmer to Fitter. So Farmer, FarmerToFitter, because I came from a family of farmers and got into the fitness industry. So it's my journey. And then Stacey, spell it out for him.
I'm Stacey J. Hansen, Stacey, the letter J, Hansen. I didn't come from a farm. I came from the San Fernando Valley. Uh, and here we are.
And you'll see our website or our landing page link there, and we can, you guys include it in your show notes and all that, that we can people can connect with us. We're actually getting ready to run a workshop talking this exact same thing in the month of July. So on that landing page, you'll be able to see where you can sign up for that workshop and everything like that. It's completely online, so anybody can join or get the recording afterwards as well. So
Wonderful, wonderful. I'll make sure to have all the links, the details, and everything in the show notes. And oh boy, this was such a wonderful, such an informative one for me, Stacey and Justin, because this reminds us that health isn't just a checklist, it is a relationship we have with ourselves, and this relationship is deeply influenced by the stories we carry, the stress that we try to normalize, and the permission that we give ourselves to slow down and listen. So thank you so much for doing this and for bringing up the important, the crucial conversations around the relationship between mind and body for all of us. Thank you to both of you.
thank you.
Thanks for having us.
And to all the listeners out there, I urge all of you to check out the wonderful resources shared by Stacey and Justin. Just refer to the show notes along with this episode on your favorite podcast platform. And until next time, stay mindful, stay kind to yourself, and remember that sometimes the biggest shift starts in the smallest pause. Thank you.